want you to make this year the year you get your future vision. And that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is the power of visualization. And next month for our Thanksgiving Eve meeting, we actually share our vision boards. I don't know if you've ever heard of that concept. Many of you have, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's easier than ever in the digital age. So a lot of today's presentation is really to engage you, to inspire you, and hopefully empower you to do one for 2021. And in our Thanksgiving Eve meeting, we're going to take it from an attitude of gratitude and give thanks for what we will achieve in 2021. And in fact, as you hopefully will learn tonight through my presentation, that's a big part of the secret around visualization, is to believe as if it already has happened. So thank you for starting out with me, and I hope you have an attitude of gratitude. And I leave that space blank because I really want you to think about what that means to you. I don't want to force things on you, but we can all have pity parties to some degree, but really you define that. It sounds harsh, but if you don't have a smile, be grateful you have a face. If you don't have shoes, be grateful you have feet. I mean, that sounds harsh and ridiculous, but at some level, it's real. The reality is, around the subconscious and conscious mind, your subconscious mind doesn't really know reality. It knows what you tell it and what it experiences. Abraham Lincoln, the only way to predict the future is to create the future. I think that's some wisdom we can definitely draw upon. And this story is a phenomenal story. If you've never heard this, listen. You know Jim Carrey, The Mask, so many other movies, Dumb and Dumber, just phenomenal entertainer. I think most people would say that. Well, back in his early days, when he was a struggling comic, stand-up comic, frustrated, at the height of his frustration, he sat down and wrote himself a check for $10 million and put the date on it, November 23, 1995. And I think it was something like 10 years to the day or something. He got a check for $10 million, and I think it was for Dumb and Dumber. I may be wrong. It could have been The Mask, for acting services rendered. And we'll talk more about it later in the how-to. But it's not just about visualizing the glory. It's not just, okay, I'm going to get $10 million and people are going to kiss my feet and it's going to happen on this day. Yeah, maybe that's part of it if that's what you're into. But it's also about visualizing and being grateful for all the things that means. And there's a dark side to that, and we'll talk about that. And it's not just, careful what you wish for. Even if you wish for the right things, well, it takes a lot of unglamorous work to lead a glamorous life, and you need to embrace that, and God bless you. Napoleon Hill, anything the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. I hope you believe that. I hope that's a saying you've heard before. I think it's something we need to be reminded of so often, because we can really accomplish anything we're willing to dream of, but there's kind of a stipulation there. It's a little, 2 words, you got to believe. And you may say, well, who the heck's Napoleon Hill? But a guy by the name of Jesus said it before in a book called Mark, although I don't think you can buy the single. I think it just comes in the album. I think there's 66 of them. But therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. That's powerful. And it's something you really need to understand, because it's not just be grateful and believe, oh, I can do it, I can do it. It's believe as if it's already happened. It's allowing your subconscious, your psyche, to just enjoy the fruits of your labor as if it's manifests today when it's years out. It's not magic, it's science. It's who are you is important, who you think you are. That's why it's important to get the negative thoughts out of your mind. You may not be able to stop them coming into your mind, but you do control how long they're in your mind. And get back on positive thoughts. I know some of you have heard me talk about the reticular activating system. You buy a new car, all of a sudden you see it everywhere. You're at a party, the person next to you can barely hear, but yet you hear your own name from across the room. It's because those things are part of your value system. So that's how the world plays out for you. Neuroscientists, neurologists, neurosurgeons will tell you, I've seen some of the top ones talk about it, that the synapses in the brain, the conscious mind, fire about 1 million times a second. And in the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, same thing. They fire at 40 million times a second. And what gets through for your enjoyment, your experience, is again, who are you? That's what people call the reticular activating system. And then a bullet on the unglamorous side. I spoke to it a little bit earlier, but the reality is, it's like James Arthur Ray said, what takes more energy, one house or two? Hey, Victor, you tell me, Mr. German car guy, what takes more energy, a Volkswagen or a Porsche?
Yeah, it'd be a Porsche, yeah.
Yeah, so the things you want, the things you dream about, you've got to be willing to, what I call embrace the grind, enjoy it. That's part of the splendor of visualization. But if you're not willing to do that, you really aren't biting into the full experience. It's about giving gratitude and believing at physical, emotional, and spiritual levels, feeling as if you've already arrived. This is a book I want to reference. Jim Cathcart, Toastmaster, Golden Gavel Award winner. You've heard me talk about him before. He's just a phenomenal guy. How would the person I want to be do the thing I'm about to do? And I think that's an interesting thing to just kind of liberate you a little bit. And I want to talk about an alter ego. I don't want to go down this segue too far. It's Clark Kent going into the phone booth and becoming Superman. It's Sasha Fierce and Beyonce. It's Kobe Bryant and Mamba in 2020. It's an interesting concept, and it's still about a vision. One of the things I've done throughout my career to have success is to say every time I go in the door of the building, I'm the greatest salesperson this company has ever seen. I wasn't always. Maybe I was once. Who knows? Maybe twice. But that's what I said every time, and I continue to say, because it puts me in a frame of mind of success. And I don't just say it like, okay, it's $10 million 5 years from now. I say it like, that's a challenge. You've got to be organized. You've got to be professional. You've got to be disciplined. You've got to be engaged. You've got to be focused on the market. You've got to be aware. You've got to innovate. All those things that professionals do. When I say that, that's what I think about, the challenge. What would you do if you knew you could not fail? I say that just to trigger you, to open your aperture. We're going to talk about vision boards. And yeah, careful what you wish for. But hey, guys, don't make it hard. Make it fun. Make it delusional. Relax. Think about what you want to be and dream. Because the reality is you really can achieve it if you can conceive it and believe it. What are some challenges to visualization success? You don't have a vision, or you don't keep the vision in purview. I did a company called Empower Me Photo. We did fridge magnets and wallet cards and sticky back photos, and people would email in their mostly underwear self photos, and we would Photoshop them down and make them look great, like the next step in their physical journey, and give them those sticky back photos and fridge magnets. We were in Shape magazine. Phenomenal little fun thing. Didn't really get off the ground, but it was about giving them a vision. I carried my wallet card. It didn't look like what I look like. It looked like what I want it to look like. As I pay for the Italian food or the Mexican food at the restaurant, I see that every time. And over time, quickly, I'm not eating 2 bowls of bread before the pasta arrives, or I'm not eating 2 plates of chips before the burritos arrive, because it means something different to me. That keeping that in your purview is important, because it's just front of mind, or even back of mind. Either way, it's got to be in your mind. And people also don't visualize the work side, so embrace the grind. What's the downside about that? What's the unglamorous side of achieving that goal? If you're going to make 3x more money, you're probably going to need at least 2x more clients, so there's some work there. What do you see as some of the unglamorous work or dark side of achieving those things that are part of that process? Because Jim Carrey, he would visualize meeting with directors. He would visualize like overcoming rejection from meeting directors. He would visualize, the work part, walking and being amongst the mix of it all, right? Not just the end game. So what are some of the steps in the journey that you would need to visualize to help that manifest? And don't always be so time-bound. When I say time-bound, I remember I was like in high school and I was in this auto parts store in Pittsburgh in the 70s, and I saw this sign on the wall. If you don't believe the dead can come back to life, you ought to be here at quitting time. I'm like, what the heck does that mean? But then it makes sense, right? You see the person, they come home from their work, it's Tuesday night, they're exhausted, but all of a sudden the husband or the wife comes in, or the partner comes in with tickets to the big concert. All of a sudden they're energized to whole new levels, right? Well, we all have the energy. Don't be time bound to where you're stuck. Sometimes you just got to dig in and be purpose bound, passion bound, work objective bound. The how-to. Important stuff here. Grab a compelling vision of your future self. Don't stress about that. We're going to talk more about it. I'm going to share some of my experience in just a minute or two. Don't stress about that one. 2, embrace the grind. Don't be time bound. 3, let it go. And hello, the battle is the Lord's. Just let the universe play it out for you. But I believe you have to be congruent with your vision, your values, your direction. That's where it flows. That's where you remove friction, you get synergistic kind of effects, and you just move forward in a more fluid manner. It's about dreaming. It's about gratitude and energy. Be grateful as if it already is manifest. Again, that's so very important. And expect it, see it, recognize it. And I say, what did Jim Carrey visualize? Now to relate that to your new reality. Wow, here's a great slide. Weight Loss Empowerment, 50 Ways to Lose Your Luggage. That's a book I did probably 10 years ago now. And despite its catchy subtitle, it's not a list of ways to lose weight. It's actually all about using the power of visualization for weight loss. And that was aligned to my work with the Empower Me photo and how I was trying to get speaking gigs to that audience and trying to develop a market for the Empower Me photo value proposition. And it's on Amazon. A vision board can save your life. Now, this is going to get a little personal. I won't get too raw, but I want to highlight my personal vision board from last year. Can I do that with you just a minute? And while I do it, I want you to think about what you want, what elements. Get it in my future. Manifest it. Be grateful. What things you can think about you want to add to yours. So I'm going to go to the next slide. I think it zooms it open a little bit, a little raw here. First of all, my kids. Love my kids. Wonderful kids. Very blessed. I feel that if you fail at raising your kids, nothing else really matters at life. And thank God they're both great kids. So 25 and 24 now. Some other things there. The calendar's important. Some of the personal on the consumer debt side. You can see the Galaxy and U.S. Soccer. I want them. They're not on top because that's the most important thing to me. But soccer's a big part of my life. I've been to 5 World Cups, and it's a pretty important part of my journey. The picture of, I believe that to be Jesus working with the needy. That's something I always want to be sensitive, if not active, but as sensitive and as just responsive as I can in my own little harriedness of life. This whole layer here is all my branding that are kind of passive brands, but I refuse to stop paying for them. I refuse to let them go because I think I brand over time. I've seen speakers at NSA who, they sucked for years, and then all of a sudden it clicked and they were powerful. And so, hey, Video for Business Growth is a brand of mine. We produced over 500 videos in our first year. That was exciting. Empowered Sales Training is a brand of mine. Do sales training, of course, speaking. And then the KG Now, I've got a family of media brands. This one over here, the sun, what does that mean to me? Well, there's a Chinese parable that says any person that gets up before the sun 360 days a year will not fail at making their family rich. And it's not really my goal to necessarily make my family rich, but I do want to be in control of my destiny to some degree financially. And so that's just a reminder that it's a call to action. Get moving, Get busy living or get busy dying. The heart means it's one of your biggest muscles. You need to work it out regularly and to stay energetic. The phone and the sales guy is really an impression upon me that I need to be engaged. It's not just about emails and digital. I got to be on the phone regularly, and I need to be positive. And then, of course, that's part of the smiley face. What if I have no vision? Well, who are you? What's your heritage? What's your skills, your passions, your beliefs? What do you want to accomplish with these precious seconds we have on this planet? And then I believe if you truly follow your heart, you will find your passion. So let's talk about creating your future. First of all, you just saw mine. It wasn't like I went out and did a bunch of drawings or bought a bunch of hobbies, crayons and coloring and all the things that 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we had to go to the library to do research, right? We had to prepare things, right? Now it's all digital. We just do screenshots. I'm not a lawyer, so I can't counsel you on the legalities of screenshots and other people's content. If I were charging money for this event, I would probably be more cautious about what I just showed. But those were images I grabbed that I thought impressed upon me, touched on me, would resonate with me and give me feeling and remind me of what I want it to remind me of. They were symbols. And that's what I want you to think about is 1, what do I want on the board? And 2, what's that symbol really look like? And don't just settle for the first one, because you never know. It's like climbing a mountain. You may think, okay, I want to get to the top of Saddleback, and you get up there and it's beautiful, and then all of a sudden you see there's the Colorado Rockies or something, and wow, that's my mountain. So don't always settle for the first thing you find, but I think it's easy to go out and find imagery. I think it's easy to throw it together. I can happy to answer any questions. You can use Word to throw things together and just stack images in there. You could use a video editing or a photo editing software. How to be grateful as if it is already manifest. Easier said than done. Anybody want to tackle it?
I'll give it a go, and that is the trick. But in the reality, and I believe that's what Einstein was talking about with relativity, I believe. In the world of the cosmos, there is no time. And so if you actually believe it, it'll happen. And plus, if you're telling the universe, I want X, the universe will give you wanting X.
Amen.
So it's basically really looking at the quote that you said that the man from Galilee gave, and doing it exactly the way it said, believing it is done, and it is a trick. But if you really understand how it works, then it's a little bit easier to do it.
So if you're speaking in past, or present tense, as if it's already happened, the subconscious easily it flows. Versus if you're speaking, as you say, I want X, you're telling yourself you don't really want X, you want to be wanting X.
Exactly.
Which will perpetuate until you resolve to speak in the proper tense with your own psyche.
Right. And also, you mentioned you want to feel it emotionally and mentally and physically.
Right.
And then it's much easier to do that if you've already feel that you have it.
Right.
I already believe you have it. And there's a big difference. You gotta know I'm a spiritual counselor. This is I basically have a master's degree in this. Is if you just really feel it, then you really achieve it. But if you exactly need to actually, you know it. Not that you believe, not that you trust, not that you hope. It's a knowing. Big difference. Wow. Yeah.
Powerful. Thank you, David. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for your indulgence, and I hope that you are inspired to make this the year you got your vision. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I liked it a lot. I've heard some of the stuff before, but your energy and different spin and commitment to it made it much, much better. I'm way impressed. Thank you.
So good. If you have a recording of it, it's something a person could listen to over and over. It was that good.
I just hit my record button.
Well, then, could you give me a copy? Please.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. Okay.
Anytime, but I'll listen to it more than once. Every day would be great.